The Hollywood strike is still going, and we believe that we have a good way of showing you exactly why. It turns out that there is a massive vacancy in leadership when it comes to the WGA, that's the Writers Guild of America. Last week, we broke the story that there was a tremendous number of job openings for the highest positions possible. However, it actually goes much farther than that. And today, we're ready to bring you the facts, the receipts, and let you decide, do you think the best people are in place to bring the Hollywood strike to an end? All right, folks, welcome back to another video of excellence explaining entertainment and keeping you ahead of the culture curve. The writer's strike has been going on since May 2nd. However, it goes back way farther than that. You see, in April, they took the vote on whether or not they would strike, if they could come to a, shall we say, resolution with the rest of Hollywood. The Alliance Motion Picture and Television Producers was the main group that they had to make an agreement with. However, the writing was on the wall for a very, very long time. How much so? Well, so much so that 97% of the vote was in favor of going on the strike. And that means that for months before that, the WGA knew that this was likely to happen. And as that was beginning to occur, it seems that the WGA was making changes and trying to get people out of their roster. Let's take a look at how that played out. This from Deadline, Nellie Andreeva is the writer here. February 28th is the date, going way back. WGA-W, when you see the W on the end, by the way, folks, that means West, but it's essentially analogous to the WGA. Executive Director David Young goes on medical leave. Ellen Stutzman to serve as chief negotiator with AMPTP. Now, why is this important? You see, last week we brought to you the facts that there are two job openings with the WGA. One of those job openings is for the chief executive officer. The other is for general counsel. Now, due to our sources reaching out and giving us a plethora of information, we are aware that they do not have an executive director either. In other words, the top three people that you would need for a strike such as this, or for just general operations of the WGA, apparently missing in action. We'll talk about those other positions in just a moment. Here's what the article says. There's a major change in the WGA negotiating team ahead of the March 20th start of talks with studios on a new contract. Remember I said this went way back? WGA-W Executive Director David Young, who has spearheaded multiple bargaining campaigns on behalf of the writers, is going on a medical leave of absence starting today, the Guild's leadership told members in an email this afternoon. WGA-W Assistant Executive Director Ellen Stutzman will serve as chief negotiator for the 2023 MBA negotiations, the letter said. Ellen has earned the confidence and full support of the WGA-W Board, WGAE Council, and the WGA Negotiating Committee. She will lead a staff with decades of experience negotiating and enforcing the MBA and organizing and mobilizing members to support the Guild's contract campaigns. Now, here's what all of this means. David Young, who was the executive director who guided this Guild through the 07-08 strike, well, he is still not back. We have no idea what this medical leave is about. We don't know the severity of it. We wish David Young very well, and we take medical leave seriously here on this channel. We take him at his word, and we believe that probably there is something serious going on, but he is not there, and that means the head coach is not on the team. Now, who did they put in place of David Young? Well, that's also important. Ellen Stutzman, you see, is someone who has been with the WGA essentially her entire career, and she is a research analyst. Let's say it again. She is a research analyst, not the type of person per se that you would think would become the chief negotiator. So why is there such a scramble at the WGA? We'll take a look at this. We viewed this before, but it's important to go back. The current WGA-W job openings. What jobs are open right now? Now, remember, they don't have their executive director. That is being replaced by a research analyst. But they also have their chief financial officer wide open and general counsel. And just to review, the chief financial officer is responsible for the financial and risk management functions of the Guild. Gee, that might be important right now. And the general counsel is the chief legal officer representing the Guild. Now, there was some amount of flack that we took over the general counsel question. We'll talk about that in just a moment. However, let's take a look at this. Here is the in-house legal services. We'll explain that in just a moment. But the in-house legal services are being carried out by Catherine Shannon Kristovich. She is the Director of Legal Services. Now, why do we say that she is the in-house legal services? And by the way, folks, generally and throughout the past, general counsels, including Tony Siegel, who is currently officially with the title of general counsel, they have been in-house. We don't believe, although I cannot corroborate this, but we don't believe, based on our sources, that the general counsel resides in-house right now. And so that is a major departure from the past. It leads us to believe, although again, we cannot fully corroborate it, and maybe if we could, we wouldn't, but it leads us to believe that general counsel may be title only at this point. We're going to show you the reasons again why that is. But here is one in particular. This is RS&G, Rothner, Siegel, and Greenstone Attorneys at Law. This is the firm that handles, well, apparently, the WGA. Now, why do I say that? You would say, well, now, they have general counsel, and that's Tony Siegel. And sure, he works at a separate firm, but, that's not the firm itself. He just does the firm on the side. He's been there for decades. Well, take a look at that. Look at that image that just popped up. That is the writer's strike imagery. Look at that. Solidarity with Writers, Writers Guild of America on strike. It appears that the WGA, at least through these images, that the WGA is actually outputting their general counsel role to RS&G. Can I completely confirm that? No, but it sure does seem that way. Now, I want to go back to this, where we see these job openings. We're going to show you something very interesting about this. Remember, this is the current job openings that are available. Chief Financial Officer, when we click on this one, take a look here. In the top left corner, you're going to see Chief Financial Officer 2022. 2022. Now, that's particularly interesting because what it means is that they have been looking for someone to fill the Chief Financial Officer position since last year. And nobody has been accepted. Nobody has come on board with being the Chief Financial Officer. Isn't that interesting? I think it is. And then on top of that, what if we click on General Counsel? Well, we get something even more interesting here. In this one, although you can't see it from your screen, I can. I'm looking at the file name of this. And the file name for this is General Counsel, and I'll read it verbatim. General-Counsel-11-22.pdf. What that means is that this job opening for general counsel, that is Tony Siegel. Remember, he's officially supposed to be the general counsel for this effort. Well, this has been open since November 11/22. November of 2022 is how long they have been trying to replace Tony Siegel, who is supposed to be their general counsel. Let's go down here to the bottom and take a look at this. It says unionsearch.org. Margolis, Potterton and Associates, Patricia Johnson, business manager. For confidential inquiries, questions, salary information, or to schedule a call, please email Deborah Schwabata. Position open until filled. Initial application deadline. Here's when they initially wanted to have the applicants turned in so that they could replace Tony Siegel. And there's no other way of looking at this other than their current person who holds the title of general counsel that seems to be thrown out to a separate firm of which he is a part, but which has always historically been in-house. It seems that they were trying to get rid of him all the way back into November, that because that initial application deadline, again, December 16th. Now, here's what our contacts tell us. This document was created in November. We can see that because of the date that is provided in the file name. But not only that, folks, it was probably going back farther than that in terms of them looking to replace Tony Siegel. Now, why would they want to replace, though, the person who has historically been their general counsel, who now we believe, although we cannot corroborate, is likely general counsel in title only, actually being farmed out to a firm, and the in-house work is being done by someone separate. Remember, we talked about that. Why would they want to get rid of Tony Siegel? Well, this is where it gets very interesting. You see, folks, what we're trying to lay out for you right now is that the WGA has taken the field in one of the biggest strikes of all time, and they have taken the field without their players in position. Here's why they likely wanted to get rid of Tony Siegel. According to sources that reached out to us, they believe that leadership of the WGA prior to the strike likely did not believe in the legal abilities to bring this strike to an end, to negotiate it to a conclusion that was satisfactory. And that may be why we see tremendous vacancies at the very top. I mean, these are the three biggest spots you can have. You're talking about your executive director, the head honcho, the chief, the big kahuna, not there. You're talking about the chief financial officer, that's second in command, not there. You're talking about the general legal counsel position they have been attempting to replace for almost a full year. Okay, so why did they perhaps perceive that the strike was not going to go well for them? And this may be shocking for those of you out there who are members of the WGA and get the reports and think things are going well and your side is strong. I'm not here to tell you that that's incorrect. I'm not here to tell you that the rest of Hollywood, that the corporations and studios are going to win or that they're the good guys. That's not the point here. The point is to tell you that the talent pool is not as it should be at the top. Your leadership is not as it should be. Take a look at this out of Variety, because this confirms and corroborates what some of our sources reached out and told us. This is from February 15th, 2008. Why do we go back this far? Because we need to look at how the last major strike ended. This is by Cynthia Littleton. Alan Wertheimer likes vintage cars, playing baseball, and restoring Craftsman furniture. He's known for scouting prospective clients by reading spec scripts and attending film fests. He's also the seasoned showbiz dealmaker who helped WGA leaders get over the last high hurdles in negotiations with the AMPTP. Wertheimer, partner in showbiz law firm Jackaway, Tierman, Wertheimer, Austin, Mandelbaum, Morris, and Klein. That's a tongue twister for sure if you want to get that out on a sign. Was perfectly cast in the role of behind-the-scenes conciliator. Now, wait a minute. Who is this? Tony Siegel is supposed to be the lead negotiator. He's supposed to be the general counsel. He's supposed to be the guy who gets this done back in 07, 08. Who is Wertheimer? He's a nice, decent, honest person who works hard, cares about his clients, and is smart as hell, says screenwriter Ron Bass, a member of the WGA negotiating committee and longtime client of Wertheimer's. Interesting. Bass suggested Wertheimer would be a good addition to Team WGA after Disney's Robert Iger and News Corp Peter Chernin agreed to take part in small group talks aimed at ending the crippling strike. Wertheimer certainly had the experience for the assignment. He reps a long list of top screenwriters, and just last year he wrangled the writers' co-op deal for John Wells, Ton Schulman, Nick Kazan, and 16 other top scribes at Warner Brothers. It also helped that Wertheimer had forged a good relationship with WGA Executive Director David Young, the same guy who is now on medical leave. When Jackaway, Tierman handled the negotiations for the interim agreement that longtime client David Letterman struck with the WGA in December for his Worldwide Pants banner. Why does all of this matter, folks? Well, it matters because what we're told, and we can corroborate this with other articles, we are going to do so on the Pro Show at 5 p.m. Eastern Time today, if you're watching this video at the time of release, is that Tony Siegel, who is now given the title of general counsel, but again, we won't reiterate it too much, but we're not sure how much water that title holds right now, how much it carries. Tony Siegel was not the guy who managed to negotiate and wrap up the last strike. The reason that they had to bring in somebody different, a different attorney, is because Tony Siegel couldn't close out the deal. He could not come in and finish what needed to be done. We are told, and we suspect that perhaps leadership at the WGA now also thinks that they may have a serious situation on their hands and that they did not have the right team in place going into this strike, and that may be why we see vacancies in the most premier positions possible. May also be the reason that Tony Siegel has been someone that the Guild has been looking to replace, again, for almost a year. It's hard to imagine that someone who is being attempted to be replaced could also be someone who is highly in your favor. I guess paychecks pay money, though, and well, that's always positive. But in terms of what the WGA is doing, we're here to tell you that it's actually bigger and worse than what we initially reported. Because the last time we came to you, we said, We don't believe they have a CFO. We don't believe that they have in-house general legal counsel. And we don't believe that they have the right person at the top of the negotiating team because it's a research analyst who's worked at the WGA her entire life, perhaps does not have the gravitas to do what she's doing. Now we're here to tell you that the reason that she's the chief negotiator is because the executive director has been MIA since February. This is not the type of thing you would want to see if you were looking for successful negotiations and for a team that could have a concerted ability to bring forth the best results for all of Hollywood, the industry, their writers, etc. Consider for a moment, folks, that if you are a group of young and hungry individuals, perhaps batting far out of your league in terms of trying to wrap up this strike, it might be a moment where you would greatly enjoy and savor the opportunity to go head-to-head and toe-to-toe with some of these big corporate studio CEOs, because again, you're way out of your league, but you hold all the power because the powerful have exited their positions, essentially. I think that may be what is going on here, and I think that's why we may be in an impasse, and we need to get in new persons on the WGA side. Again, folks, I'm not here to tell you the WGA is in the wrong. I'm not here to tell you that the corporations, the studios are in the wrong. I'm here to tell you that this is a poker table, and the top players on one side are not holding the cards. All right, folks, that is the video for today. We are going to go farther in depth on this. Andrew of the Legal Mindset will be joining us during the pro show to go through all of this. He'll have the opportunity to critique everything that we've said, analyze it, determine from an attorney's perspective, did we get it right? Did we get it wrong? We are open to that kind of analysis. We're also going to be talking about the fact that the Disney World Resort seems to be under some serious, perhaps even criminal inspections by the state of Florida, and the Walt Disney Company itself is now being sued yet again for streaming numbers as the Ahsoka numbers come out and look, well, a little fuzzy at best. So stay tuned. We're going to keep bringing you all the information that you need to stay ahead of that culture curve. If you like content like this, consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe. When you click it, you stick it to the algorithms. It's the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Tell me what you think about this latest revelation that no, it's not just CFO. No, it's not just general counsel that are job openings. No, it's not just that there's a research analyst who's leading this entire thing up. They're missing the top person in the entire company and have been. Let me know what you think. And wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
Make sure to catch the Pro Show Thursdays 5 to 7 Eastern Time. Entertainment Explained, The Culture Curve Conquered, live with Pro and all his friends.